Right now, we are transferring this Jinjo sake into the rice press, which is going to take all of the actual rice out of the solution. It's going to make some rice cakes, really. I'm mixing right now to make sure that the thick mixture doesn't clog up the pump. You can see in some areas right over here, it's really quite thick. So, and in other areas it's not too bad. So we want to mix those together to make sure they're nice and evenly distributed. Now, what we also are doing is we have this here. We'll have little specks of dust in here, coagulated proteins, and grab those out. Those just get dropped in there. Otherwise, this process takes about maybe a half hour or so, and when the sake comes out of the press, it's nice and clear and ready to drink. I'll give you a brief idea of what we're dealing with here. This is the sake that we are transferring right now. And you can see how there's still rice in the solution. It's like almost like a malto meal type texture, but it's actually quite a bit thinner, obviously. And this is the rice that is going to be removed. This is a Jinjo sake, the run-of-the-line, if you could say, sake from Kyuchi, and it's really quite delicious, and it was the first one that I had here. So I'm going to give this one a quick taste and see what kind of flavors we're dealing with right now. So it's still just a little bit slightly carbonated, and that is obviously going to be out by the time it's done through the press. But it has a nice, subtle green apple type of character. Alcohol right now is around 15.5%, but it's really not even noticeable. And in the aftertaste, there's a bit of a earthiness, almost a little nuttiness. And it's when I use these terms, I mean very light characteristics. It's a delicate drink, and it's not overwhelming, really, in any sense. But it is quite delicious and quite amazing. This is the rice press that the yeast is going through right now, and you can see how there are separate sheets, and the rice or the sake will move through in this direction, catching the rice while the liquid runs through. This is just a runoff container that is leading towards a fermenter, but what we're going to do is we're going to see just what it tastes like now compared to before. Now I'm just going to close this up real quickly. Here we are. So, this is the color. There's a little bit of cloudiness, but really not too much. It's pretty clear. And let's see how it tastes right now. Well, the aroma right away is actually a bit fruitier. Before it was a bit more disguised because you would get a rice milk type character from inside the fermenter. This is a bit more pure without that milkiness. So it's, again, a bit fruitier. Yep, that apple comes through a little bit more, and then actually you can get a little bit of a pear character in there as well. I don't get much of a nuttiness anymore, and maybe that's because a bit of the rice is gone. But the apple and the pear are really dominant here. Again, delicate, but they are the main types of flavors here. Now, again, this right here, 15% alcohol. Actually, I'm not sure what this is. We'll have to test it. The final product is going to be 15%. This one right here could be as high as 17.5. Usually they have to dilute the sake a little bit because it's better to end higher in alcohol than lower. So this one is probably about 16 to 17% or so. So there is a little bit of wiggle room to be sure to get at least 15% in the final product. I'm going to give it one more taste. It's really good. I would say it's dangerously drinkable. 15% or 17%. You barely taste the alcohol, and it's really good. I did not know a lot about sake before I came here, and from what I've learned, Japan is the place to be for sake brewing. They make the best sake in the world, and Kyuchi Brewery apparently is doing a very fine job at making the product. Now here's a fermenter that has a Daiginjo sake. This is one of the highest, actually the highest brand of sake that you can get from Kyuchi and from most Japanese places. This has a rice polish of 40%, which leaves behind just the center starches in the middle that are the real desirable parts of the sake. I'm checking this one. I just stirred it, but I'm checking it now to make sure that it has the right flavor compounds that it should be. This one is a bit different than the Ginjo sake that I had tasted just before this. This one has a lot more actually of a green apple and pear type character, and it has even less of an alcohol noticeability, if I'm making up words here. But this is a really smooth, really nice sake, and right now it kind of looks like milk, and it's going to go down just as smooth. So let's give it a try. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it, and the apple and pear character is a lot more prevalent than the Ginjo sake. This one is, I barely noticed any alcohol at all. Now it is still fermenting, so of course it doesn't have the desired amount of alcohol right now anyways. Right now it's probably 2/3 of the way fermented, so it still has a way to go, but it is unbelievably smooth right now, and the fruit character is amazing. This is a drink that I wish I would have known about a couple years ago when I started learning about beer, because I could absolutely see myself drinking this all the time. If you can find a Daiginjo, Daiginjo sake, buy it. Make sure that it's less than a year old, because it will be delicious. I could drink this all day.